In this lesson, we are going to do word problems that involve rational expressions. So most of these will have variables in our denominator, or they might just have some funky fractions in there that we have to simplify, okay? So here's our first one. Ethan can do a job in 4 hours. Bryn can do that same job in 6 hours. How many hours will it take the two of them to do the job if they work together? The most common mistake I'll see here is that people will try to say 5 hours because they average 4 and 6 out. But think about it. If it takes Ethan to do 4 hours in a job alone, if they're going to do that job together, it should not take more than 4 hours. It should take less than 4 hours for that to happen. Okay? So here's what I want you to think about. We don't know what's shaken down with what job it is, okay? But I know that Ethan can basically do one job in 4 hours. One job for every 4 hours. Bryn can do that same job, one job in 6 hours. Okay, same job. Now, I don't know what that job is, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to call that job X. Okay, so basically, here's what this is going to look like. For Ethan, I can do that one job in 4 hours. For Bryn, I can do that one job in 6 hours. And they are going to do that job together. Okay, so basically Ethan plus Bryn has to equal the one job. Okay, that's what that's going to look like. You might write this x over 4. Some of you might write that as 1/4 x. He can do a fourth of the job. You can think about it like that too. Okay, and now we need to solve for x, so we need to be able to add these two fractions together, and in order to add them together, of course, I need common denominators. The common denominator between 4 and 6 would be 12. They both go into 12. So I am going to multiply basically this 4 and 6 both go into 12, so I'm going to multiply the whole entire fraction here by 12. And I am going to distribute this. So when I do that, and I'll do this one the long way, I will have 12x over 4, or some of you can just realize I can cancel this 4 and this 12 and reduce it, because 12 over 4 becomes 3x. Okay, so if you can skip that middle step, great. The next one, when I take 12 times x over 6, I will have 12x over 6. A lot of you can skip that step and realize that 12 over 6 becomes 2x. And don't forget, really common mistake, to take 12 times 1 and get 12. And from here on out, it's not so bad. So 3x plus 2x is 5x equals 12. Divide by 5. And x comes out to be 2.4 hours. And lots of people will think that's 2 hours and 40 minutes. It's not. It's 2.4 hours, which is actually 2 hours and 24 minutes. 0.4 of 60 minutes is 24 minutes. But 2.4 hours is just fine. All right, the next one. Find two consecutive even integers such that the sum of their reciprocals is 7/24. Okay? So, here's what you want to think about. If I have a list of numbers, let's say that my first number is 2. The next even integer would be 4, and the next even integer would be 6. And to get from one to the next, I add 2, right? I always add 2. Well, let's say that I don't know the first integer. Okay, so I'm going to say the first integer is x. So if this number right here would be x, to get to the next number, I would have to add 2 to it. So the second integer that happens to be even would be x plus 2. Now, if I said to you just the next consecutive integer, not next consecutive even integer, so in other words, if my list went 3, 4, 5, to get to the next number, I would just add 1. So if I just said that it's consecutive integer instead of x plus 2 right here, you would have to have x plus 1. Okay, but I didn't. I said the next even integer, and so I'm adding 2 to get to the next number. So that's how that looks. Okay, so now let's go through this again. Find two consecutive even integers. So I have my two even integers. They're x and x plus 2. So that when I sum them, sum means to add, and when I add their reciprocals, so the reciprocal to x is 1 over x. The reciprocal to x over 2 is 1 over x plus 2. So when I add the reciprocal of x and the reciprocal of x plus 2, I get a sum of 7/24. Okay, so I want to make that left side have common denominators, and so I need to multiply both of this one here by x plus 2.
At this time, tornado drill, please go to your designated areas. This is not a joke. Sharon, go to your designated spot.
And then
This
x.
is a tornado drill.
All right, so right here, when I take x plus 2 times 1, I have x plus 2. Right here, when I take x plus 1, I have x. And my denominator then, my common denominator down here is x and x plus 2. Okay. Combine your like terms. So I have 2x plus 2 on the top and x times x plus 2 on the bottom. And I'm going to just simplify this because I want to cross multiply, so I'm going to make this be 2x plus 2, and on the bottom I'm going to distribute that out, and I'm going to make that be x squared plus 2x. Okay, and now what I want to do is I want to cross multiply, so I'm going to multiply that times that, so I have 24 times 2x plus 2, and then I will have equals 7 times x squared plus 2x. So 24 times 2x is 48x. 24 times 2 is 48. 7 times x squared is 7x squared, and 7 times 2x is 14x. Okay, then we will get everything on one side. So I will have 7x squared. I will subtract this 48x minus 34x. Move the 48 over. So I have minus 48 equals 0, of course. And then this should be able to be factored, and it does factor as 7x plus 8 and x minus 6. So here x would be negative 8/7, and here x would be 6. So negative 8/7 does not work, because think about what negative 8/7 means. Negative 8/7 means that it has to be the first integer. Well, 8/7 is not an integer. It's not a whole number. So negative 8/7 will not work. Okay, but 6 will. So the question is, if my first even integer, in other words, my x value up here, way the heck back up here, if this value is 6, then the next even integer would be 6 plus 2, which is 8. So 6 and 8 would be my answers here. Okay. All right, and one more. The production rate of a small factory is modeled by the equation. No, that's not what I want. Sorry, I'm not on that problem. The sum of the reciprocal of a number and the reciprocal of 9 less than that number is 7 times the reciprocal of the original number. Find that original number. Okay, that's a whole mumbo jumbo, isn't it? Okay, so we have x, which we're going to just call the number, the original number. Okay, so when I sum means to add, the reciprocal of a number, so the reciprocal of x would be 1 over x, and the reciprocal of 9 less than the number, so x minus 9 is 9 less than the number. Not 9 minus x, okay, because if it's 9 less than a number, you're taking 9 away from the number. You're not taking the number away from 9, you're taking 9 away from the number. So if I do the reciprocal to 9 less than a number, that would be 1 over x minus 9. And that has to be equal to 7 times the reciprocal of the original number. Just like that. Okay? So this is a little confusing, but we got it. We can do this. You are going to get common denominators on that left side, so I need to multiply this by x minus 9, and I need to multiply this by x. Okay? So on the left, we have x minus 9 right here, plus x over my common denominators down here, which are both x and x minus 9. And then on the right side, 7 times 1 is 7, and this is over 1, so 1 times x would be x. Combine your like terms. 2x minus 9. 2x minus 9 over, I'm going to distribute this to make it a little bit easier, x squared minus 9x equals 7 over x. At this point, I will cross multiply. So I will take this times this, and I have 7 times x squared minus 9x, and then x times 2x minus 9. Okay, so on the left, 7x squared minus 63x, and on the right, 2x squared minus 9x. Okay, subtract my 2x squareds and add 9x. I'm going to do that all at one time. And when I do that, I will have 5x squared minus 54x. And then I can factor an x out of there, and then I will have 5x minus 54. So right here, I get x equals 0. And right here, I get x equals 54 fifths. Okay? Find the original number. And you need to check this. And here's the deal. It can't be 0, and here's why. You have two choices. It can't be 0 because when you take the reciprocal of the original number, if the original number was 0, then when I did 1 over 0, I would have a number that's undefined. So when I did the reciprocal of 0, I'd have 1 over 0, and that is undefined. And so in this situation, the 0 will not work, and so x has to be 54 fifths. Okay? And now on to our last one. Sorry, I lied before. All right. The production rate of a small factory is modeled by this equation, while the production of another factory is modeled by that equation. What would be a model for the combined production of the two factories? Okay. So combined basically means to add them together. Okay. Combined means to add them. So I'm not going to come up with a numerical answer here. I'm going to come up with a another equation kind of a thing where I've added these two things together. It does not have to have a number for an answer, but it's going to have an equation for an answer in this case. So again, combining means I'm going to add these two equations together. So that's what that looks like. Luckily, I have common denominators already, and that is a darn good thing. So since I have common denominators, all I have to do is combine my like terms. So when I combine x and 9x, of course I get 10x. And when I combine 24 and 24, I will get 48. And on the bottom then, I will have 4x, and I will have x plus 3. Okay? But you want that as simplified as you possibly can get it. And so on the top, I can pull a 2 out of here. And when I pull a 2 out of here, I will have 5x plus 24. And of course on the bottom, I have 4x times x plus 3. And what you can do is you can cancel this 2 with this 4 and make that be a 2x down there. And so then what you really have is 5x plus 24 times 2x times x plus 3. And that's probably how they will leave it on accelerated math. They may go one step further and distribute that 2x through the denominator down there, but I don't think they will. I think that that's how they will leave it. So that should do it.